Yeah, Talaman, Geek Talk. Let's enjoy the show. Talaman always got a plan. Geek Talk is popping where it's really at. Represents geek culture, homie got structure. Sometimes focus, real cast culture. We like Goofy, smart to say the least. Loving One Piece, man, really loves to eat. Everybody knows the show is really is Talaman. You know what time it is. Let's go, Geek Talk.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Hello and welcome. We got another episode of Geek Talk with Tyler. As always, I am your host, Tyler. Today, I'll be joined by a recurring guest, Mr. C. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. Before we go any further, do you want to tell some of the episodes you've been in, who you are, what you do, and things like that?
Mr. C. I got a podcast called The Sports Dudes. I have a TikTok page called Cashing Out NYC. I'm on Facebook at James Celestin, Instagram as The Dark Knight 025, and I'm on Twitter at Reverse Chaos 09. I've done, this episode about ranking the DCAU anime shows. I've been on lists about about comedy, suggestive humor, and yeah, man. And I also wrote the theme song to for Tyler for our project that we're working on. So yeah, so I do. I'm a jack of all trades.
I've always liked the jackass of all trades, but that just kind of rolls off the tongue better, if you ask me.
That's funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our episode today is going to be homage to the late Kevin Conroy, who's been lost to us for about a year now, as we rank the top 8 episodes of the DCAU. For those of you that don't know, the DCAU was a group of TV series, films, short films, and web series that lasted from 1992 from 2006. But we will be discussing on the shows first, or primarily, mainly because that's what everybody remembers, and less on the films. Now, we're going to be basing them on how well remembered they are, the cast that were involved, the writing, the difficult situations that were involved in terms of how hard they hit, and other factors that we will take into consideration. And as always, like we've done with our ranking episodes, we're going to start with the worst of the bunch, the Zeta Project. The Zeta Project was a spin-off of Batman Beyond, who, in subsequently speaking, was a sequel series to the Batman the Animated Series. Now, I know what you're thinking. Theoretically, yes, all of these technically are sequel series to Batman the Animated Series, because that's what initially launched it all off. But Batman Beyond could not have happened without Batman the Animated Series. Everything else could have. Or at least just about everything else could have.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, Superman, the animated series came, I believe, when Superman didn't make his anime debut on Batman the Animated Series, if I'm not mistaken.
I know, it was actually the new Batman Adventures, because Joker had that no pupil eyes thing going on for him.
Yes, yes.
And we'll be discussing that later, coming up.
As far as to say, I'll be honest, I didn't even remember that it was a DC show. So I'll be completely honest.
Yeah, you and everybody else. Now, I don't think if we're going to grab 100 people that grew up in the 90s and 2000s, and you ask them to name 5 shows from either the 90s or 2000s, how many of them would you believe would say the Zeta Project?
Unless they're like a diehard, like, oh man, I love this show. Not many. Very, very, very little. I can't say none, but I will definitely say very, very, very few and far between would look at the Zeta Project and say, I remember that show. Much less remember it was a DC show, too.
I would say Tailspin has a better chance of it, and it only had one season.
Yeah, it did. Like, I mean, I don't remember much of the show. I do like from what you did say was a spinoff, but then again, almost everything off the list that we're ranking is a spinoff of something. So that I don't remember a lot of memorable things from that show, but I do know that it was a show. It
Well,
happened.
they all are.
It's something. It happened. I think it had what, 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. I think they all did. I mean, except the New Adventures of Batman, but it's kind of like what you call it. It was kind of like the Goliath Chronicles, if you remember that.
Vividly.
Yeah, it was like they didn't want to do another series, so they created a new one altogether. And spoiler alert, it's the GT of Gargoyles.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
That is.
Except
that
for the
is
first episode. That one Greg Weisman did have some involvement in. And incidentally, # keep binging Gargoyles.
Please. But I can see why it's low for where it is, because I don't even remember that was a thing, and I know, and even looking at it, I'm like, huh, neat. And I don't think maybe there was a memorable moment, but I don't think it had an impact as some of the other shows that we're going to rank on this list. So I'm comfortable keeping it at the 8th spot.
No, but like all of our other shows, it did have a phenomenal voice casting. Wouldn't you agree?
But then again, every show on this list had a phenomenal voice casting.
I was trying to put lipstick on a pig. Work with me.
Fair enough. So give credit where it's due. I mean, gotta give props to Kurtwood Smith. I mean, for those who don't know, he was Red Foreman on that '70s show. So
yeah, I gotta tell you, it's weird seeing live action stars in animated roles, and we will be discussing that heavily in the upcoming series that we have. But yeah,
I don't know if it's as weird as you make it out. I know you'll discuss it in depth, but I don't think it's as weird as you say it is. I think it kind of shows that. I mean, look at Jack Black. Jack Black's School of Rock. I mean, dude was in the Super Mario Brothers show. I mean, like Super Mario. I think he was Kung Fu Panda, if I'm not mistaken.
He was Poe, the titular star. So yes, you're not mistaken.
So I don't think it's as
typecasting.
Weird. Well, I don't think it's as weird as if Jack Black could do it.
Wow, way to set such a high bar for Jack Black. Yes, if Jack Black can do it, anybody can do it. Yes, no. Yo, if Jack Black can do it, you're better than Jack Black if you can voice act.
I mean, Kurtwood Smith did it.
Yeah, but hasn't that guy been a film star and a TV star a lot longer than Jack Black?
True. Hey, what about?
He's been putting foots in asses for years before Jack Black came along.
What about Kurtwood Smith? Not Kurtwood Smith. What about Sam Elliott?
Remind me.
Sam Elliott, the old white dude with the mustache.
He's the current mayor in Family Guy for reasons.
Yes, because rest in peace. Adam West died.
No, that I get, but I don't know why they just didn't get another Batman.
No, I get it. I guess.
I mean, we couldn't obviously add Kevin Conroy, rest in power, but why didn't they just get Diedrich Baker or something?
I guess because Seth MacFarlane is really a fan of Sam Elliott, and he said, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they just wanted to piggyback off the whole West thing.
I mean, if you think about it, Sam Elliott probably sounds like the most Western conservative man anywhere. And if you look at, you think it's Seth's like, let me get both tropes, the narcissistic liberal trope and the narcissistic conservative trope in the Western, which is Sam Elliott. Bam, let's make a show. And it works. But I'm saying that if live actors start, granted, people like Kurt Ward-Smith, who puts boots to asses forever, Sam Elliott, who's been doing it forever, I could see Hollywood live action stars do voice acting. I mean, it's not
Do
easy,
they though?
but it can be done.
Riddle me this.
John Cena did it.
Yeah, but riddle me this. There are actors, and then there are voice actors. It's like, you know who Aquafina is, right?
Yes, I know Aquafina is.
Unfortunately. Every time
Yes,
she voice acts as a character, she does not sound different at all. She sounds exactly the same. But then we got actors like Rob Paulson, Jim Cummings, Tara Strong, all these people, and they get all their characters sounding different.
You mean also don't forget who voiced Timmy Turner in Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah, Tara Strong.
Yes. But all I'm saying is I get it, because they have range and they could do different. I mean, hell, the English voice actor for Ash Ketchum was a girl, and she did a good job, and I get that. All I'm saying is if you could do it, and you could do it well, I get props. Like I said, Jack Black did it well. Kurtwood Smith did it well. Elliot did it well. Gotta give props where props due. Not everyone can be Rob Paulson or Phil Lamar, and I get that, and they do sound the same. I guess the more difference is, and I get where you're coming from, the range for voice acting is a lot more harder than, say, live action. I mean, give you an example. Look at Will Smith. Don't you notice that Will Smith is pretty much himself in like almost everything he does?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the sole exception is The Pursuit of Happiness, and I'm going to give him respect for that because he actually took a break from that. But everything else, it's just him being himself. And now he's on the bench because he was in the doghouse.
Although, if you saw the movie of Emancipation, he did a really good job of being a freed slave, and he was a doctor in the movie Concussion.
Oh, no, those are reference to the Oscars, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Emancipation came out after the whole Will Smith decided to slap a hoe moment.
I mean, it's funny enough that he thought it was funny to begin with.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's like, Will, execute Order 66. But actors aside, that can't even save Zeta Project, and as good as a voice actor is, it can't even save a series. Case in point, Patrick Stewart voices a piece of shit in the Emoji Movie. And no, I'm not being cynical. He literally voices a piece of shit in the Emoji Movie. So take it with whatever grain of salt you want. But in the meantime, Zeta Project gets a comfortable number 8. As we bring to number 7, the new Batman Adventures.
Very interesting show. It was different. I just want to know why.
The animation style was different. They
kept the same voice actors, I guess.
I guess that's their redeeming quality to it. I mean, Killer Croc looked more badass, and Penguin actually looked more suave. But everybody else, I honestly don't know why.
I mean, the structure stayed. I mean, the structure stayed the same.
I think Joker got the worst treatment of all.
Yeah, I want to know. What animation style did Mark Hamill's Joker wrong? Like, why?
Well, it was a creative choice that clearly didn't work. I mean, a lot of times, second seasons or whatnot get another animation. Like, you remember that show, American Dragon Dig Long?
Yes, I remember that show.
Yeah, remember how its second season got a different animation altogether?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it?
Weird.
Good weird?
No, like very like bad weird. It's kind of like it's kind of similar to today's animation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean the 2018 ones?
Yep.
Yeah.
Although they did, Tara Strong as Barbara Gordon was a choice, an interesting choice, but a choice nonetheless.
Well, hang on. Was it a bad choice?
It wasn't a bad choice. It was just a choice.
Okay, so riddle me this. Again, not trying to make a pun. It's just a common vernacular at this point. Who would you have chosen as Batgirl? I mean, we have so many talented female voice actors. Grey Delay Griffin, for example. We got Creed. Who's the girl that played Hyena in Gargoyles? Cree Summers.
Yes, you could have gotten her.
Yeah, but what's so weird? She was already basically the Alfred to Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond.
Fair. Although, also, too, they kept Arlene Sorkin as the original Harley Quinn. Rest in power, Arlene Sorkin, the GOAT of Harley Quinn, the OG Harley Quinn.
Okay, I gotta ask, is that a sports thing or is that a urban thing? Because I honestly don't get that. I mean, I know what it means. I just don't get why that's so used as frequently as it is.
Rest in power?
No, that I got. The GOAT thing, that I don't get.
It's an urban thing.
Got it.
It's for those who don't know, like when people say GOAT, obviously short for greatest of all time, not the actual animal goat, even though that's what it can also, that's what it actually does mean. When we use GOAT, we describe someone who's great in what they do, and we acknowledge the greatness for them. So when we say the GOAT of acting, like how I just said Arlene Sorkin, the GOAT of Harley Quinn, because she was the original Harley Quinn before Tara Strong took over. That's my appreciation, saying that she was the best of the best. Not to say Tara Strong's Harley Quinn was awful, because her Harley Quinn was really good. It's just when I remember Harley Quinn, I remember Arlene Sorkin.
No, but Kaylee Cuoco does need to go 6 feet under.
Listen, she's great in Penny, but every time I think of her, I think of Penny. Like,
yeah, I think she's like Aquafina. She needs to be both seen and heard to be tolerated.
Like, don't get me wrong, the show's not terrible, but I could just do away with her not being Harley Quinn.
I mean, the show has gotten more liberal as it's gone on.
Yeah, well, welcome to today's society. But I mean, hell, if you could have gotten the girl that played Bernadette, I think she'd be a better Harley Quinn.
You know, she actually was Harley Quinn.
Yeah, put her.
I actually thought it would be hilarious if they got the girl that played Amy at one point, so maybe they can get all 3 girls to voice Harley Quinn at one point or another.
I don't know if Maya Malik can be a good Harley Quinn. It'd be
she
weird.
Could be at least a good Harleen Quinzel.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, was Ben Affleck a good, Bruce Wayne?
Was he, though?
I don't know. That's the question. Was he a good Bruce Wayne?
And at least he didn't have bat nips to work with.
Is that the bar we're setting?
I mean, as far as the worst live adaptation of any Batman movie, yeah.
You mean George Clooney's Batman was so bad it almost destroyed the superhero movie as we existed?
Well, I mean, there are other films that did that, like Howard the Duck, Wonder Woman
But,
'84.
well, Wonder Woman 84 came out afterwards. I'm talking about like that Batman was so bad. Like the superhero movie, the superhero movie almost came to non-existent how bad it is. Don't get me wrong, George Clooney's a good actor, but why? Tell
Well,
me
it's one of
what,
those moments where it's good actor, bad role.
like, just what's the redeeming quality? Jim Carrey?
No, I think George Clooney happened with the Uma Thurman Poison Ivy and the Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze.
How much money did they pay Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because I feel like that was just Arnold Schwarzenegger was on crack.
Why? Because they made his skin white? Racist.
Man, he just acted with his eyes popping out, like he's basically like himself drinking too much cocaine. And cocaine, I mean Coca-Cola, because that's what originally was called. Cocaine in a bottle.
Yeah, now I'm trying to picture drinking the drug in a bottle. Like, do you put it in a blender?
I don't know, but however they made soda, they added cocaine into it. That's why it's called, that's why it said Coca-Cola, it's originally called cocaine in a bottle.
I guess that explains why it's so stupidly addictive and why nobody ever wants Pepsi when you go to a restaurant.
Hence why cocaine in a bottle, for those who don't know.
But the new Batman adventure, sidetrack getting aside, did keep the voice actors, animation was different, didn't tackle the same hard subjects, but it did bring some new characters to the DCAU. Clarion the Witch Boy, Etrigan the Demon, and my personal favorite, the Creeper.
Yeah, for all the points you made and for what it was, I'm fine for it being number 7. It wasn't horrendous, like it wasn't like the worst like the Zeta Project, but it's fine for what it is.
No, and if it wasn't for these other shows, we would rank it a little higher. But until then,
Yes.
It's a comfortable number 7. Which brings us to our next spot, Static Shock. The ethnic show in an otherwise homogenized group, it did tackle serious issues, and since you were more of a fan of the show than I was, would you like to mention some of them?
Oh yes, like it tackled homelessness, racism, poverty. The episode where Richie's dad didn't like Virgil because he was black.
Well, that's racism.
Racism. The homelessness episode, like the how family divide. Because if you remember, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Static Shock's uncle was a villain turned good, kind of like how Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles Morales' uncle was the Prowler. So
it's been a hot minute since I've seen Static Shock. I may need to rewatch that or Google that, but I'll take your word for it in the meantime.
Like how diverse the cast was, how I really like the show. Granted, I'm not gonna rank it higher than the other shows on the list, but I really enjoyed the show because it was one of the very few shows, and yes, it was a DC. For those who don't know, Tyler's not making this up. This is a DC show. You wouldn't know it, but and I knew I was a DC show when I saw Batman crossover with Static Shock, and I didn't see Captain America, so it's a DC show.
Let's look at Virgil Hawkins himself.
Very few shows that tackle issues.
I mean, how often do you see Virgil Hawkins? Harley Quinn is like in pretty much everything Joker or Batman is in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you look at it, it's you rarely see Virgil Hawkins, but I do like the fact that issues were tackled. I mean, if you think about it,
issues that tackled in the early 2000s are kind of the same issues that we have today. Not to get all political.
Oh, I mean, look, humans have been around for thousands of years. I think we're
And
always going to get political or controversial or societal, no matter what you're going to call it. As long as people have opinions, people are going to have problems. And I'll admit that sounds a little communistic, but that's just the unfortunate truth.
Well, as I always say, opinions are like assholes. They stink, and everyone's got them.
And I like the fact that if you look at it from how it is, the animation was really good. The show was like,
For at
I
least
like
the era
how
it was in, you
it
mean?
based around like,
Yes. And I like the fact that it was an enjoyable show. Like I'll never forget how bullying took place, and how Richie kind of felt like he was never in, and he wanted to feel like he wanted to feel like he had friends. How he felt that how Static was had these powers, and he's just like, oh, how come I didn't get it? Then later on, he ended up getting all these powers. How he's a super thinker, and
Yeah, he's
and creates
basically
all this
Iron
stuff.
Man. He's DC's version of Iron Man.
Is he really?
Basically,
I don't know, because
he didn't really gain any. Well, what powers did he gain? He's super smart. Great, you have the same powers as Sheldon Cooper.
But Sheldon Cooper can't build everything so quickly out of his ass,
Okay, so he's like the weird
Like-
love child of Sheldon Cooper and Howard Wolowitz. Wow, that's 5 Big Bang people we mentioned in one episode.
That's funny. But for what it is, because I can't rank this show any higher than all the other shows on the list, it's a nice, comfortable 6. It's a really good show, and I'm happy with where it is. It tackles a lot of issues that that not a lot of the shows tackle. Not a lot of anime shows attack a lot of these issues. I know Gargoyles attack a lot of these issues, that are going on, but very rarely that you see DC or Marvel attack a lot of these issues that are going on today.
Well, I mean, DC has tackled a lot of these issues in other shows, but we'll address them later. As for I do just find it hilarious that Phil Lamar's characters are usually so more deep voiced, and then we got Virgil Hawken. Just sounds like he's going through puberty.
Well, in fairness, he is a teenager, so take that as you will.
Don't you find that a little funny?
I mean, it is funny, but based on the character he was playing, I can kind of understand. So I will rank this a nice, solid 6.
A very comfortable 6. And if more people knew that it was a DC show, it would at least be a solid top 3.
I would
Maybe
agree.
top 4.
I think top 4 would be fair. I think top 4 would be fair.
But until then, it's at the bottom of the roster as we move to the JLU, which honestly, last of the series, final episode, classic villain hero team up, good way to wrap up. Biggest problem, too many characters. It's like that old expression, too many chefs in the pot.
You know the old saying, less is more. With the JLU, it applies, because sometimes less is more, and there was just too many characters. It's like, all right, here you go. We're gonna shove it in your face. Here you go. It's like, okay, who are they? Like, it seems to me that a lot of these characters are just there for filler.
this was a problem Transformers had in the original Generation 1, but then Beast Wars went up and changed that. Something I explained in my episode, Beast Wars, the game changer of the Transformers franchise, as it focused less on multiple of characters and more on the character development thereof, specifically with characters like Cheetor and Dinobot.
Yes, and I kind of like how ever since that you're focusing on like the main characters for the show and not all these sub characters, because I kind of understand why like you want to give each character like exposures. And my thing is, just because you own all these characters in your arsenal, don't mean everyone gotta get their shine. Like, not everyone deserves to be seen.
Hashtag end the MCU.
Yes, thank you. Some of these characters need to stay where they are. Like for instance, look at the Guardians of the Galaxy. Be honest with me, Tyler. Before the live action movie, did you even heard of a Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh God, no.
Okay then. Like, you know, I'm sure aside from like the Avengers and Spider-Man and all the main Marvel characters, if I told you that they're going to have if I told you, hey Tyler, there's a new character called Echo. Do you know who Echo was before Disney decided to plop their hands on and make a live TV series?
Well, I would say it's a Marvel character with sonokinetic abilities, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, and the difference is she's deaf.
Didn't they have that for a Batman Beyond character?
Yeah, but now Marvel does it in women form, because you know.
Okay, wow, this is literally Marvel and DC piggybacking off each other. DC had Shriek, and now Marvel has Echo.
I mean, let's think about this, Tyler. DC made Superman. What's Marvel's response?
Captain Ultra? Or,
okay, then.
Or I guess, now thinking about it, Marvel doesn't really have a lot of caped characters.
But Captain Ultra is pretty close. It's pretty close.
Or one of.
I mean, one of. And then, don't forget, DC has Deathstroke. What's Marvel's counter?
Well, that one's Deadpool. Literally. Well, they're not even trying to be shy about that one.
No, they're literally being douches. I mean, look at what
DC has Black Solomon Grundy and Marvel has Hulk.
Yeah, basically. So it's like DC basically is not. DC and Marvel are not shy. They are literally saying, "Hey, anything you can do, I can do better."
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Like, so it's basically like this. It's like, let's see whose is better, and they're not shy about it. And my retort to that is, can't y'all just make original characters and not just see which one is better? Well, that's the problem with
originality, if I may. As somebody who has made an original book, feel free to check out my book, Peter and the Cold Christmas. I will be doing an upcoming podcast episode with Drinking with Authors talking about it. In the meantime, feel free to check out my episode as I read with Ken Beisselman and Marlene Sharp about it. Original characters are very difficult to come up with. In case in point, Luffy from One Piece, you would say he was an original character, but he was inspired by Goku, who was kind of a weird love child between Sun Wukong from Journey to the West and Superman from DC.
Yes, but inspiration is different from, like, you can be inspired, but that doesn't mean you have to make the characters with pretty much the same abilities. Like, come on, like
there are only so many superpowers out there, man.
Okay, but there's so much, but you don't have to give them all the damn powers. I mean, you basically gave Deadpool a healing factor. She's basically Deathstroke with a healing factor.
And don't forget, She-Hulk's fourth wall breaking.
Yeah, which was also given to Deadpool. because why?
But I don't know. But even though this is a DC episode, here's a little bit of Marvel trivia for you. Did you know that Deadpool's very first media appearance was in the X-Men, the animated series?
Yes, I did.
So have fun with that knowledge. And in case you're wondering, it's briefly when Morph transforms in front of Wolverine during the phases he's going through, in a sense.
If I'm not mistaken, and before we get back into this DC show, like, wasn't Peter North the voice character for Deadpool in that brief cameo appearance? Because I remember,
don't think so.
because I know Peter North voiced Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds basically ran with it. And
The best Deadpool of all time is the same guy that did Terry McGinnis.
Yes.
Because he sounds like Ron Swanson if he was an assassin, and that's just awesome.
I love Ron Swanson.
But back to the JLU, it just felt like they were adding too many characters. The episodes themselves were really well written, but it just felt like there were too many characters to keep track of. So unfortunately, we're going to have to put this on the top of the bottom of the list.
Yep.
So in the meantime, so now that we did that, we're going to put its predecessor on the bottom of the top list, the Justice League. It introduced the 7 Justice Leagues, only instead of giving us the Hal Jordan Green Lantern, we got the John Stewart Green Lantern, which was an interesting choice, another Philomar character. But honestly, there's a part of me that wishes we had Guy Gardner, just so we could have a Green Lantern to constantly piss off Batman.
Why?
Because he can and therefore will. That's literally why he's there. I mean, let's bring it this way. We have the original Green Lantern, which was Hal Jordan. We have Hal Jordan, can't English say. John Stewart, who, let's face it, existed to bring diversity for Green Lantern purposes. And then we have Guy Gardner, the redhead that loves to piss off everybody and who's so full of himself. I kind of would have loved to seen that.
Is it more of a personal preference, or is it more like it would have made the show better?
I mean, the show was great as it was. I mean, we already have comic relief in the form of Flash, so it might have been too much of a good thing.
Okay, here's my problem with that. I have a problem with that. I am a fan of the Flash. The Flash is actually my favorite DC character. Right up there with Superman and Static Shock. It's up there. I put Static Shock up there as just a personal favorite of mine. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was Wally West's Flash. That was in
it was actually. It was in the episode. It was in this 2-part finale where they have to take off their costumes because they're looking for the Justice League members, not their alter egos. He's like, whoa. It's like, hey guys, I know you everything and I trust you, but I don't think I feel comfortable revealing my Wally West, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. God damn it. And then Wonder Woman says, wow, you're a redhead. Nice. It's like, you think? And then Bruce Wayne gets pissed off. Change now.
My problem is that they made the Flash basically like an afterthought. He's just there for comedic purposes, and the Flash is not really supposed to be like that.
Well, he did have some episodes where he shined, like The Brave and the Bold, where he outsmarted Gorilla Grodd.
Yes, but I guess for me, I just like Barry Allen's Flash more so than Wally West's Flash, but also that's just me.
Barry Allen was the original Flash, right?
Nope, that was Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick was the original Flash. Then Barry Allen. Well, Jay Garrick was the original Flash in the one of the very, very first 52s, and then Barry Allen became the Flash. And then when Barry Allen died in Flashpoint, then Wally West became the new Flash. And then Barry Allen came back to life. So yeah, that's kind of a. But I just like Barry Allen's Flash. I don't know. I just like his Flash better.
I don't know. I mean, I think they chose a great job with Wally West. What honestly confused me was that in the Superman series, they had Hal Jordan, but in Justice League, they went with Jon Stewart.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, that was confusing, right?
Could they not find an actor to play Jon Stewart?
Oh, no, they did. It was Phil Lamar, but
I don't know. I just I don't know. I just
the biggest part of why we have to rank it so far is that every episode is a two-parter.
Yes, I think that's a problem right there.
Like
that's a problem right there.
Like, okay, now in a day and age, we live in a streaming service, which it's a two-parter, no problem. I can just pick it up another day. Now we didn't have that luxury growing up. Like, we had to catch those episodes then and there.
Also, too, if you think about it, we live in a microwave society. We want everything now. So you can't get away with doing like two-parters, unfortunately.
I don't know. I think two-parters are worth it. Like, some of our upcoming episodes for our upcoming X-Men series are worth it. Specifically episodes 2 and 3.
No, I agree with you. I believe there are some episodes that are worth the two-parters. I just feel like how much can you grab the attention span so they can worth waiting for two-parters to question.
Well, I mean, as long as it's good. Like, Lord of the Rings was a 3-parter, and it still holds as one of the best trilogies to date.
That's a pretty high bar to set, but also fair.
I mean, can you think of a better trilogy?
I mean, that the Dark Knight series, the Captain America.
How many awards did that one? Remind me.
Oh, come on.
No. It's kind of a caliber of film quality. Just remind me there. Remember?
And okay, but one of the actors won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. So
only one. Ooh.
It counts. Well, costume.
That's costume like a participation award compared.
Costumes, man. Some of the costumes are really good.
Compared to Lord of the Rings?
Listen, man. You asked. I'm giving it. I'm giving something.
All right. I guess I am setting you up for failure.
You are. It's like the sink is shipping. I'm finding a ways to keep it afloat.
Yeah, you're better off just. You're better off just finding some driftwood and heading off ship.
But I will say this, however, for the Justice League, it was enjoyable.
Oh, no, they all were, but.
Yeah, very enjoyable. I guess the Flashpoint was just me nitpicking because every show on this list, there's always something you can critique. And that was just my nitpicking.
We'll see about that of the upcoming shows. But until then, Justice League gets a very comfortable 4th spot. And up we get to the main shows, Superman, the animated series.
I really like Superman. First off,
I say a lot of people consider Joker to be Batman's opposite. I disagree. If anything, I consider Batman to be Superman's opposite. I mean, yeah, they both fight for good and everything, but, well, let's face it, they both have different ways of doing it. Batman's the bad cop in the situation. Superman's the Boy Scout. Superman relies on his powers. Batman relies on his gadgets and intellect.
And also, too, Superman is one of those, like, okay, they both don't kill, but they both have a code like don't kill, but Batman will, I guess, in a way,
Oh, I'm not going
torch
to
you.
kill you, but your hospital bills will.
Yeah, Superman's were like, yep. Whereas Batman's like, I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna beat the crap out of you until you talk.
Yeah, which was one of my favorite Robot Chicken sketches. I can't believe they got Mark Hamill to do that voice.
Let me ask you a question. What was your thoughts on Clancy Brown's Lex Luthor?
Loved it.
I loved it too. I thought it was pretty great.
If
I
you told
mean,
me that the same guy that did Mr. Krabs also has done um, Lex Luthor, I kind of would have been surprised. But I think it's the whole typecasting thing. Like Clancy Brown has done several other villainous works. He was Long Fei in Avatar, Lex Luthor, as we previously mentioned, and Wolf in Gargoyles.
yes. I also gotta give Tim Daly credit. He played a good Bizarro.
Was he
I
also
mean,
Superman?
yep. And Clark, yep. Superman, Clark Kent. Like, see, it's very impressive that it's kind of like. So I want to ask this question. You know how Seth MacFarlane is pretty much almost the voice of half the characters on Family Guy. So in the sense that he's when Peter Quagmire and Joe are in a room together. Sorry, when Peter Quagmire and Brian are in a
Well,
room
he
together.
only of
Sorry,
those
Joe.
four, of those five, he only voices Quagmire, Peter, and Brian.
I know. I know that. What's his face voices Joe. What's his face? He's why is his name escaping me? Is it? I think it's Patrick Warburton. If I'm
Warburg.
not. Yes, because but I'm talking about like okay, so exclude Quagmire, not Quag, Cleveland and Joe for a second. So it's like if Peter, Brian, and Quagmire are by themselves. So it's pretty much Seth MacFarlane having a conversation with himself, which makes me wonder when Tim Daly voices Bizarro and Schumann, is he basically fighting himself?
In a way, yeah, many actors do struggle with themselves when they have more than one roles or talking to themselves. Like one of my favorite episodes of the 2012 um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was when they had the crossover. The 1987 Raphael goes to the 2012 Donatello. It's like, and what's wrong with your voice? You sound weird. And he's like, me sound weird? Have you heard yourself lately? And it's literally Rob Paulson roasting on himself.
Or kind of like the last episode of Angry Beavers, where like the voice actors are basically like just drop what they're talking about and just basically going at it, which was pretty funny. But yeah, like I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was great. Um,
Or if you watch Hell of a Boss, or how Richard Horvitz, who plays both Moxie and Crimson, they kind of have a beef with each other.
I would say, however, did you enjoy the crossovers?
Yeah, they were all good crossovers. The Flash, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Batman.
I do enjoy the episode where Lobo was there.
Yeah,
Um,
Brad Garrett, Raymond's
yeah,
brother, and everybody loves Raymond.
yeah,
We've
really
had a number of
make sure that
Lobos throughout the series. Kevin Michael Richardson for the promo, John DiMaggio for Justice League Action, David Soboleff for Young Justice, but that will always be Lobo for me.
let me ask you a question. I love John DiMaggio. I mean, the man plays Bender. Um, do you think he was better Lobo or the Joker?
I was. Well, the problem is with a lot of his roles, he sounds exactly the same. Like Wrath, like one of my favorite roles he's done is Wrath from the Ben 10 series, and he's basically the
Yeah.
weird love child between a wrestler and a tiger. Like it's, let me tell you something. dot dot dot, and he even gets to the point where he argues, but he always sounds the same, whether it's him, or even the Scotsman, but you just give him a Scottish accent. But then there's
So
the Joker from Under the Red Hood, sounds like a completely different animal. Or even
yeah,
Bender, which sounds like a completely different character altogether.
in fairness, when I saw Under the Red Hood, I thought that was Mark Hamill for like a split second, but then you can kind of tell that it wasn't. But it was still an incredible performance. It was still a really incredible performance.
I was kind of the same way when I saw Young Justice. It's like, wait, is that Mark? No, Brent Spiner.
Yeah, like you can just tell. But as far as Superman, the animated series, it's a nice, comfortable 3.
But honestly, as far as the casting goes, Gilbert Gottfried as Mr. Mxyzptlk was the best casting choice they could have ever gotten.
I love Gilbert Gottfried.
Rest in power.
Yes. So now,
did you see the new Superman series?
I did.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Mr. Mxyzptlk is an interdimensional imp from the 5th dimension who's basically omnipotent, who has only one weakness. If you get him to say, spell, or reveal his name backwards, he reverts back to the 5th dimension. But
yes,
in this new Superman series that we got, that wasn't the case. Also, the design looks completely different than the ones we've seen in prior years. Like, I'd say Blue Elf.
Yeah, I agree. And
I don't hate it, but I don't love it either.
I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I think it's just fine.
But yeah, even Gilbert Gottfried, another character off the top of my head, I forget his name, but Tony Jay was another actor that they had in it that was really well done.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I agree. But I like Superman the animated series for number 3, and I agree with you on that. So now,
but
who's
the
number 2?
reason we're going to give it number 3, it's because it does tackle serious issues while at the same time reminding it a light, nice after-school television show that DC isn't always known for. But yet somehow this one still manages to pull off. So with that in mind, our number 2 spot, Batman Beyond.
I agree.
Now, okay, everybody always says Batman with prep time, Batman with prep time, Batman with prep time. And yes, it was no secret that Batman did win my Squid Game challenge, which, no hard feelings, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, your character came in number 4, so...
I want it to be number 1.
You lost to Batman and David Xanatos.
I don't give a damn. I want it to be number 1.
Well, then pick Batman, Jam, next time, damn it.
No, Batman is... Everyone picks Batman. I want it to be different. And
then you should have picked Batman.
Nah, why number 4? Why 4?
Dude, you beat characters like Captain Kirk, Archer, and Shang-Chi.
Fair enough.
Seriously, you've beat, if my math is correct, 46 different characters, and you're bitching about the 3 you didn't.
Well, because I want to be number 1.
Okay. But top 3, but the top 5 is still pretty impressive.
Fair enough. Beggars can't be choosers.
And for those of you that didn't know, he chose the Green Lantern of subsequently the DCAU.
Yes. And I took that seriously because there are some people on that pick characters that I was like, what?
Like Newman, for God's sakes. My guidelines were they have to be human. Like human. No mutants, no half mutant, or no half human characters like Gohan from Dragon Ball or anything like that. No powers, no weapons. They have to be human. But I never said how far the limits on them being human would go.
Indeed.
And
Indeed,
so here
you
we
did.
are.
Here we are. But Batman Beyond, though.
Do you know
Terry
that was Wolf
McGinnis.
Riedel's very first voiceover role?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Who actually later voiced other characters like Bumblebee in Transformers Prime, Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible, and Deadpool from Ultimate Spider-Man.
Huh. Neat.
Is that a good
The
neat,
more you
or
know. It's a good neat. That's a really good neat. That is a good neat.
Yes. But the concept of the show was to show that Batman was too old. No matter how talented and great he was, even Batman still has his limitations. He was in the middle of fighting somebody. He's having either a stroke or a heart attack. I don't remember which. And he grabs a gun, which is ironically enough the weapon that made him become Batman in the first place. And realized, no, I'm too old. I resorted to this, or resorted to what I promised I never do. I can't go on anymore.
Yeah. I really like this list because it's a real indicator of how Batman the Batman Beyond, I gotta say, it was like, I kind of like how Bruce Wayne, who's old as hell, he was really good.
Honestly, if we don't get a Michael Keaton movie with Batman for a Batman Beyond movie, then that is just wasted opportunity. That's like Willem Dafoe as Joker wasted opportunity.
I never understood why Willem Dafoe is not the Joker. He'd be a great Willem Dafoe.
Because people already associated him with Green Goblin.
I get it, but he could be better.
So you're saying DC is better than Marvel?
As far as like animated shows, yes. Movies, no. Comic books, yes.
Video games?
Yes. Except for, I like Spider-Man though.
And Marvel vs. Capcom is pretty good.
Yes.
But is that the Marvel doing or the Capcom doing?
Good question. I'd like to lean towards Capcom because, in fairness though, the new Spider-Man video game is pretty good. Especially since it's focused on Miles Morales, it's really, really good. But the only thing that, like I said, the only thing that Marvel has over DC is their live adaptations, and even their live adaptation movies are taking a significant hit. I mean,
if I'm going to be honest, I've always thought their character designs were pretty good.
No, the designs are good, but the quality is taking a hit.
Oh, I know. I mean, if we're just going by what really helps Marvel stand out, their designs have really stand out. Characters like MODOK and Doc Ock, Wolverine's claws, essentially, have all helped Marvel stand out as compared to DC and the indie comics, as we know.
Yeah, like the Wolverine's claws, Spider-Man's suit, the iron suit, the regular suit, Deadpool's katanas, like the costume designs I've never had a problem with that. They've always been very, very close to the source material. what I do, I'm just talking more of quality. Like the last really really good Marvel movie that I watched, I mean like quality, I have to say it was Black Panther.
What a
Because
surprise! The black guy likes a black guy movie.
like Endgame was good, but I kind of felt like they kind of just all the character they built up from Thanos, they kind of just flushed it down the toilet in Endgame.
So you really didn't like the three-way Spider-Man crossover?
That's the only is that I mean that was fine, I guess, but quality, the movie was fine. The movie was fine because you had the different Spider-Mans, and the memes were actually pretty funny. But but I'm talking about like quality of movie. I probably have to give it to Black Panther. But after that, it was just like Wakanda Forever was good, but man, it's just it felt different. And maybe because obviously Chadwick Boseman's character is no longer with us, but
I don't know why they
just,
just didn't recast it like we did. Like every few years we get a new Joker. Why didn't we just get a new Black Panther?
I've been saying this, and even Boseman's brother said like they should just recast it, and I agree with him. Like at some point, just recast it. Like, listen, I get it. I understand the grieving process. And when Ryan Coogler said there's never going to be another Black Panther, I was like, nah, there has to be.
Dude, seriously,
Because
the Fantastic Four animated series had a Black Panther. That was Keith fucking David, and that was fucking awesome.
I loved it. That was great.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that, come on, man. Not like at some point, listen, he's been gone for 3 years. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna be
Five
insensitive.
actually. It's
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry. He's been gone for 5 years, so I'm gonna say this with all due respect. At some point, you have to move on. You can still respect his legacy and also move on at the same time. You can do both. It's not that hard. And also, too,
I mean, based on that logic, we wouldn't have another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie.
I mean, you still should. I don't count the one with Johnny Depp. I thought that you have to be trippy
he's
to
too
watch
weird.
that.
But we're getting a little sidetracked here.
Yeah, yes.
Batman Beyond
Let's
actually does take a nice approach. I mean, granted, it starts off essentially the same way. The whole inspiration with the murdered parent, but only difference is one was a rich kid and the other was a angsty teen with divorced parents.
I like to think like you got. I like to think though with the animated series, I kind of like how like Terry McGinnis was like really he was different. He was bold. He started off as like like any teenagers do, but who would have thought that that world would be really good.
And granted, it's a Batman. It's a new incarnation of Batman. Like a lot of times when people heard of the new Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse, a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, it's just a black Spider-Man." And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. But when I saw it, it's like, wow, this is really good. He's his own character.
Yeah. And I kind of like how for this particular, for this particular Batman, he's different.
He's not a by the rules kind of guy. Like, I'm not going to lie, it wouldn't surprise me if the opportunity were to happen, he would kill somebody. In fact, I'm pretty sure he did.
Like, I also kind of like the fact that Kevin Conroy really added credence to the show. especially playing an older Bruce Wayne. I kind of like how he added that sage wisdom, kind of like how like what Naruto had Jiraiya as his sage person.
It's funny. A lot of times when people are casting Batman, because we need so many Batman movies,
Yeah, so many.
people are always asking, who's a good Batman? But nobody ever asks, who's a good Bruce Wayne?
Well, let's think about this. Was Michael Keaton a good Bruce Wayne?
He was.
Okay. Was George Clooney a good Bruce Wayne?
Was he not?
I'll let you answer that question.
No, I'm saying he wasn't.
Yeah, of course he wasn't. Val Kilmer?
Not the best.
Christian Bale?
I could take it or leave it.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah, Affleck. Yeah, hard pass.
And finally, the Twilight dude, Robert Pattinson.
I'm not going to even dignify that with a response.
I guess all that choice, the best Bruce Wayne is Kevin Conroy. Because not only was he a good Batman, he was also a good Bruce Wayne.
I mean, Michael Keaton did a pretty good job, if we're going to call spade to spade.
Okay, he's up there. Okay, that's fair. Michael Keaton is up there.
We got one live action dude, one animated dude.
But I mean, okay, well, where do you rank Adam West?
Adam West is an entirely different breed of animal. It's like you're comparing bacon to ham. You're gonna lose.
Okay, but he did play Bruce Wayne, and he also was Batman.
Although they basically sounded like the exact same character.
Because the 60s was a different beast. Cesar Romero's Joker sounded like an actual clown.
Yeah, still weird though.
Still weird, but to answer your question, Kevin Conroy did a good job, and the reason why I say like Sage, because he provided like knowledge for Terry, where like Terry did do his own thing, but he also got wisdom from like Kevin Conroy's Bruce Wayne, so it was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was kind of hard seeing somebody really trying to juggle a social life as well as do the whole Batman spiel. But I think what's most importantly is that we got a new set of villains. Whether it be Ink or Shriek or...
Yep. It's... I will say, however, that the villains that were introduced in Batman Batman Beyond was really interesting, because I like to know, like, for all the villains that were introduced, who's your favorite?
Does Microchip Joker count from the movie?
No.
Then I'm going to say the one from the guy that kind of, the skeleton guy, the guy that has all the radiation dude, the one that's responsible for Bruce Wayne's dad's death.
Uh-huh.
That's like corporate Disney evil.
That is pretty evil. I kind of like Amanda Waller.
Yeah, but she's Justice League evil. Although technically I really wouldn't call her evil. I'd say she's willing to make the decisions most people aren't willing to make.
Basically, she has the balls to do things that most people would be afraid to do.
So I really wouldn't call her a villain. I would say, if anything, Joker is really more of a villain. But even he's just believe what he's doing is the right thing.
Joker is just Joker is just batshit crazy.
Ha! I see what you did there.
I'm glad you caught on. But for what it is, do we agree it's a nice two?
Yeah, it's a very comfortable second series. I do believe it should get more spotlight attention. I wish it get a live action adaptation film or something, or at the very least another what you call it animated film. I mean, it's going to be heartbreaking knowing that we're never going to hear Kevin Conroy's voice again. But well, it's like we said with the Bozeman thing, que sera sera.
Mm, fair. Fair.
If we
I
can
agree.
look, if we can have another Black Panther without Bozeman, we should be able to have another Batman without Bruce Wayne. And that really breaks my heart. It does, but that's just the way it is.
Which means that the number one show, which is really going to break your heart, is Batman the Animated Series.
Was there any doubt?
No. The show, like I said in the beginning, there ain't no nuts thing as a perfect show, but this is as close perfect as you can. Very as close to what a perfect animated show that you
I'm going to put a
get.
pin in that so far, but let's take a look at it. This was essentially the very first of what the DCAU had to offer, and I think we should definitely have to thank the Batman movie to thank for that. Because if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have the Batman, the animated series.
That is fair. I mean, let's look at the first off, we start with the great Kevin Conroy. You had Lauren Liston as Dick Grayson. You have Brock Peters as Lucas Fox. I mean,
countless characters. We had Roddy McDowell,
Mark Hamill, Paul Williams, Arlene Sorkin, Diane from Diane. I can't pronounce her last name. My English is not Englishing. She played Poison Ivy.
Put that shit on that shirt. My English is not Englishing.
Yep. Hey, we both get credit for that. Diane Pershing, she was Poison Ivy. She was really, really good. You had Arnold Cadet as Killer Croc. David Warner's Ra's al Ghul. It's like, don't forget
I'm gonna stop you right there. It's pronounced Ra's al Ghul, not Raz.
Sorry, Ra's al Ghul, and don't forget Ron Perlman as Clayface was pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny. Ron Perlman and Mark Hamill are the only two voice actors to be a Batman animated series villain, as well as a Fire Lord.
Huh. Neat. Yeah. That's a good neat. Good.
Yeah, neat. So I'm going to let you wrap your mind around that for viewers.
I mean, John Glover's Riddler was pretty good.
It's funny how a lot of these villains are in some way deformed. I mean, let's look at Penguin. He's short and fat. Two-Face has obviously the burns on the one side of his face. Riddler fell in a tank of acid and got completely bleached. Killer Croc suffers from a condition, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and then Henry Silver's Bane makes an appearance.
I think that was his very first media appearance.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And the significant thing about Bane is that it shows that no matter how powerful and strong Batman is, he's still just a man who can be broken.
No one knew who I was until I put on the mask. Although I know it's a difference between Tom Hardy's Bane and Henry Silver's Bane because it's two completely different animals. But some of the quotes are really memorable, and
honestly, you're just making me think of the South Park episode where all the Banes beat up the UPS driver, and it's hilarious.
Also, don't forget Arlene Bardou as Catwoman. That was pretty interesting. I mean, it was either that or the only Catwoman that comes to my mind is Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Well, we also did have Eartha Kitt for a while.
Yeah. Don't forget Richard Mall's Harvey Dent was pretty good. Don't know if he played a good Two-Face.
That's something interesting to think. Do we ever see Joker before he became Joker?
You mean Jack Napier
Yeah,
for whatever? Um, is that confirmed? His real name is Jack Napier. Is
pretty
that
sure it
confirmed?
is. I mean, he
Okay,
has a
just
card theme, so it kind of makes sense that his name is Jack.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Who was the only other Two-Face I can think. I mean, I believe Tommy Lee Jones played Two-Face, but that was horrible.
Well, there was one in the same movie where we got Heath Ledger, Batman, but I'm spacing on that actor.
You mean
But I kind of felt
wait
like they
wait.
forced him in at the end of the movie.
Oh, you mean Arnold Eckhart? Because
I,
Arnold
yeah,
Eckhart.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
he.
it really was he was. Was it just me, or is it just felt like they forced him in?
I feel like he was just there because it's like the movie was basically centric on the Joker, and what I was confused is that what was his role? Because I feel like yeah, he played a part, especially towards the end of the movie. But
But was he
my
was it really needed?
I was about to ask that. It's like, yeah, like he played an important part in the end. I mean, I guess that's how he became in their movie and how he became Two-Faced.
Yeah, but he died,
But
so he didn't become Two Face for long.
which makes another question is what was the point? I feel like it was a waste. But I do say from the cast, the episodes, the amazing voice acting. I do like Roddy McDowell's Mad Hatter. It was really, really good.
All right, so
Uh,
you've been asking me questions. I'm going to ask you one.
all right.
What was your favorite episode of Batman the Animated Series?
Wow. That's a really good one. Hold up. There's one in my head
You don't have
that
to give the
comes
exact title.
I know, but there's one in my head that was really, really good. And it was basically when it was during Christmas time and the Joker was the one that was terrorizing the city and he was like, you know, going crazy on Commissioner Gordon. I think it was Christmas with the Joker.
Was it the one
That
where
was
he
when
said, I'm not going to kill any more people? So,
yes.
yeah, I'm going to stop right there. That was the New Adventures of Batman.
No, that wasn't the
Yeah,
animated
that was the
series.
three. Yeah, that was the three episodes. It was with Clayface. Clayface had his own part. The two girls had their own part. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Then Joker ended it up by saying, "I promise not to kill any more people next year, which is why I'm going to get all my killing done this year."
I also like the one with Adam West was in. I think it's Prophecy of Doom.
Okay, yeah, the Gray Ghost one. Yes, that was a good one.
That was my favorite. And then the last one was Joker's favor. It was the first time actually when Harley Quinn made an appearance.
That was actually a good episode. I will agree with you on that. Props, and that was going to be one of mine. I would
Okay.
say two of my other favorites was Almost Got Him, where we see a bunch of villains talking about how they almost done Batman in. It was Joker, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Two Face, and Croc, who was actually disguised as Batman the whole time. How they were comparing how they almost got Batman.
Mm.
And I love Killer Croc's one. And even though he was Batman, it's like, okay, I got him into a corner and I threw a rock at him. It's like, so what happened to the coin? It was a big rock. Yeah, they let him keep it. You know, They always let Batman keep stuff. I mean, are you going to tell him no?
No. Like,
I would say the other one was the trial episode. You remember that one, right?
was that the one that where Batman was being tried and whatnot?
No, it was the one where the lawyer comes in thinking Batman's not necessary because he was kind of the whole chicken or the egg situation, that the only reason why these villains come to Gotham is because Batman's there. And so all of these, the villains of Arkham kind of have a mock trial for Joker, for Batman, to see who really created who. Did Batman create the villains, or were the villains so messed up that they created themselves? And at the end of the day, it would turn out that they were so messed up, they created themselves. But because they're so messed up, they're going to kill them anyway. So basically, no matter what happened, they're screwed.
Oh, another episode. I like that one. Another episode, and this is actually tidbit notes, was Dreams in Darkness. That was the one where Scarecrow came, put the fear gas, and you want to poison Gotham's water, which is a fun fact. That plot episode is kind of what happens in Batman Begins.
Huh. That actually is kind of a fun plot. But I would say one of the darkest one was the first episode of Baby Doll. She's got this condition, and she just wants to keep everything the way it was.
I gotta tell you,
for a filler character, that was really dark.
I gotta tell you something. Out of all, that was, I don't really look at animated shows and getting all whoa. That episode made me go, oh my god, that's wow. That episode made me had a loss for words.
I mean, honestly, I honestly don't know why she wasn't a written character like Harley Quinn was.
Yeah. And I think we can agree, Tyler, that there's a reason why this is the number one ranked animated show in the DCAU, and for good reason.
Whether it's Harley Quinn being ignited into the DCAU, as well as several other characters, whether it's the standout episodes, the dynamic of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill that led to future movies, series, and video games, I think we can all agree that this definitely stood out as the best DCAU program of all time. And without a doubt, rest in power, Kevin Conroy. So
Kevin Conroy and Arlene Sorkin and Gilbert Gottfried,
and all the other celebrities who had passed as of this recording that were part of the DCAU.
And thank you for all the contributions that you gave to us, not only from your voicing, but everything you've done. And
from your childhood, from our
childhood. And I gotta say, it was one of the best, not one, the best animated show in the DCAU of all time. And I will challenge anyone who says otherwise.
And on that note, would you like to wrap off by saying where people can find you, etc., etc., etc.?
Mr. C, you can find me on Facebook as James Celestine, Instagram as Dark Knight 025. You can find my podcast, Sports Dudes, on Variable for All, where you get all your podcasting listenings. And you can find me on TikTok, Cashing Out NYC. If you're into sports trivia, you can find me there.
Terrific. Stay tuned for more wonderful geeky content. And if you're feeling generous, support me on Patreon, Venmo, and all those wonderful Cashly apps. But until then, stay geeky.